Welcome to my articles but video. I am your host, Social Unit 254-304-647-50. Like, share, and subscribe. Today's topic: Building Bridges Initiative, but the bridges are for the naked king and his court. Democracy is a game for elites. It's not for ignorant masses who have to be marginalized, diverted, and controlled, of course, for their own good. The Building Bridges Initiative has been floating on the Kenyan conscience since the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force was announced by the President, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, on 31st May 2018. The last and the final version was presented on 16th October 2020. The purpose of the proposal is, in a nutshell, to offer amendments to what the President and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga deemed as a flawed 2010 constitution that makes it difficult to have a united nation. BBI is supposed to offer an alternative that will ensure the end of the tribal-fueled political tensions. The quest to improve governance and meet the just expectation of the Kenyan people is perpetual. The March 2018 handshake between His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta and retired Honorable Raila Odinga as the leader of the opposition coalition was a moment that crystallized the constitutional imperative to seek peace, security, and unity. Two leaders representing the ruling party and the opposition shook hands to create an opportunity to unite the country and set in motion a process to identify the comprehensive changes that will strengthen the rule of law, unite Kenyans, deepen our constitutionalism, and launch a comprehensive reform process to consolidate this momentous opportunity. This report contains the results of a 2-year process in which Kenyans from every walk of life in every county, across government entities, and with a wide variety of expertise made their views known through the BBI process. The task force on the final version identified 5 areas on the proposal set to address: COVID-19, competence, equity and equality, equal opportunity, and finally, reform. The object of politics is who gets what, how, and when.
People out there must now ask. We are told that BBI is going to transform our lives. I want to talk to the people in Nyanza. How will BBI revive Sony Sugar, Muhoroni, Miwani, Mumias? How will BBI revive the cotton industry? How will BBI revive the cooperative industries, the fishing cooperatives? The people in Mombasa, how will BBI help Ramisi? How will they help salt? How will they help cashew nut? Those who are in Central Province, is your milk going to be better produced? You are going to have better milk because of BBI? Is the coffee yield and the tea yield going to be improved? In Kericho with Finlay closing, will BBI change all this? The young men and women who have lost in Ministry of Tourism on the day that we endorse BBI.
Underlying this innocent nationalist document of good intentions and heroism lies a sinister assault to the socio-political progress that has been made so far, ignoring a history of political struggle, ironically, by some of the same people who sacrificed so much for the 2010 Constitution. Chapter 8 on the Legislature. To undertake the following: remodel the parliamentary system by bringing the government back to the House, including the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Ministers, Cabinet Ministers, the Attorney General, and the leader of the official opposition, being the person who was runner-up in the presidential election. Chapter 9 on the Executive, by expanding the national executive in order to promote greater inclusivity and mitigate the drawbacks of the winner-take-all electoral formula. This recommendation therefore proposes the introduction of the office of the Prime Minister and 2 Deputy Prime Ministers. It also provides that Cabinet Ministers may be appointed from among members of the National Assembly. The committee makes this recommendation cognizant of the provisions of Article 77 of the Constitution of Kenya, which bars state officers from receiving emoluments for more than one role. Chapter 10, on the judiciary to enhance judicial accountability to the people of Kenya. This means that while the independence of the judiciary must be protected as a fundamental principle, the judiciary should equally be accountable in a clear manner to the sovereign will of the people of Kenya. It is therefore proposed to introduce the independent office of the Judiciary Ombudsman. Chapter 8 touches on creating new posts within government for the political elite who need to be rewarded for their efforts during the election. Chapter 9 blurs the line between the executive and the legislature, making it easier for the executive to control parliament and senate. And Chapter 10 tucks the judiciary under the arms of the executive, ensuring there will never be a repeat of the nullification of an election by the Chief Justice, as it was the case in 2017. They have made the people so curious and so arrogant that they will never find humility enough for civil rule. Clement Walker, The History of Independency with the Rise, Growth and Practices of that Powerful and Restless Function, 1648. This narcissistic consolidation of power by the political elite in the name of national unity has of course been met by resistance with hashtag BBI nonsense, hashtag reject BBI trending alongside the Linda Katiba movement, hashtag Linda Katiba movement.
But the first thing you had to do was you had to sign BBI. Usign BBI kama unataka kuremain kwa program. If you do not sign it, you are no longer part of the program. It's unfortunate, it's very unfortunate that we have come to a place where we are coercing Kenyans through extra legal means to have them sign this document. You heard Professor Kibwana last night say that they were being told that they were signing the coronavirus. Yes, they will be given vaccines in Makueni. I mean, it is crazy. It is unheard of what this government is willing to do. You know,
propaganda to a democracy is what violence is to a dictatorship. Between 18th January 2020 and March 5th, 2020, there were 7 successful BBI rallies, starting from the western region, Kisii, Kitui, Meru, Narok, Garissa, Mombasa, with the Nakuru Rally, which was to be held on the 25th of March, being postponed. The local legacy media was offering the necessary airplay during the news to no fault, as it is embedded in the basic definition of journalism. With only soundbites from the rallies and political experts who only discussed about rallies without giving any context to what is BBI. Every Kenyan knew about BBI, but asking the average Kenyan what BBI is about, why are you supporting BBI, you will quickly come to realize that majority of the Kenyans only picked a side depending on what their politician of choice has aligned with. This is mainly due to the purposefully poor civil education on the proposed bill and historically the distribution of resources along tribal lines, which has obviously manifested as the tribal politics that BBI is claiming to find a solution.
Call this a tyranny of numbers is because this election was won actually on December 18th. That's when it was conducted in 1 month, and the results were announced on December 18th when IEBC closed the numbers, the voter registration, and said the following number of people have been registered. And some people slept through registration as they were doing razzmatazz on the streets, doing their rallies, while as others actually schemed through registration. That's the reason why some communities have registered very, very big numbers, and others have registered almost inconsequential numbers. And as a result, you can see that some community will actually tyrannize, if there is any word like that, the other communities during the voting process.
In 2013, Mutahi Ngwenyi came up with the term tyranny of numbers, which was a beautiful soundbite, which he used to predict that the Jubilee coalition will win the 2013 election. I have since come to be fearful of this concept since it becomes a self-fulfilling, self-perpetuating meme in Kenya, condemning the country to only ethnic elections and opening up justification for election fraud. The political elite supporting BBI have done well to align themselves for BBI, with only the deputy president still hanging on the fence. On 2nd December 2020, in a press conference, he asked if there is a possibility of more choices instead of the usual yes or no during the referendum. Negating the cases of coercion by local leaders for getting the necessary number of 1 million signatures to start the process to formulating it to a bill. As far as the political class is concerned, BBI will become part of the law regardless of the protests by Kenyans on Twitter. Your will as a Kenyan is of no consequence and the reality is already manufactured.
Watuletee sisi wengine, wacha tuendelee na kujenga barabara, tutashughulika na mambo ya maji, hiyo waende wafanye. Wakishakamilika watuletee, sisi tuko tayari na tuko na kura. Story finish. Ile sisi hatutaki ni watu kujaribu kutumia mambo ya referendum kuwagawanya wa Kenya.
Rationality belongs to the cool observer, but because of the stupidity of the average man, he follows not reason but faith, and the naive faith requires necessary illusion and emotionally potent oversimplifications, which are provided by the myth maker to keep the ordinary person on course. The Building Bridges initiative is a vulgar mutilation of the tongue of Wanjiku, built on the illusionary premise that the elected officials are rulers and the electorate are subjects instead of the reality of the democratic spirit, where the government is owned by the people and the elected officials are representatives of the wishes of the electorate. We should reject the BBI proposal that will instead usher Kenya to an authoritarian rule, where the only reason you head to the ballot is to keep the facade of your contribution in deciding your fate. The object of politics is who gets what, how, and when. As far as BBI is concerned, the political elite get whatever they want without any regard for the spirit of democracy and all the time. We should, as Kenya, refuse to go back to the ages of tyranny and take this as a serious assault to our rights and freedom. Thank you so much for sticking around. Share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell.